All right, good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with the 187th episode of our first run through Book of Hours on YouTube, playing as the artist. We're wrapping up some of the closing days. Actually, this may be the last day of spring, and it's been a little bit of a slow run through it. Simply because I've been trying to learn a little bit more about the various ingredients I can play around with while I've been opening up these chests. Now, the way I've been going about it is just trying to find elements of the soul that I'm willing to open a container with, and try to do it one step at a time that way. But the search process through the skills still takes some time, so not always the most compelling. In fact, one of the challenges, I'll say, in terms of taking that approach is that you can because I'm not writing down what the various ingredients do. Like, I had a spreadsheet that I kept basically through the beta and the first run that I did on Twitch. You know, that was nice for consulting. It did mean that there were sort of these breaks in the broadcast while I consulted it, but for the most part, you know, I was able to get what I needed. The drawback with this approach is that because I'm trying to do things from memory, like being able to trace the path of saying, okay, I took, you know, this book and I read a recipe and that led me to check out, you know, transformations and liberations, let's say, and so on and so forth. I feel like not having those stories to tell myself, you know, this idea of just sort of trying different combinations of things doesn't quite make them stick in the mind the same way. And so the drawback here is that when I want to cash in on some of this knowledge that I've learned, it is probably going to involve a little bit more of a search process. Now, the good news is that you don't, you do have the recipe now on the right-hand side, so that'll keep track of things for you, and, you know, it's not the hardest problem in the world to... Actually, I'm going to need to make some significant decisions pretty soon, so we may check more than one. An earthquake name. Everything comes when it is called, even nightmares that trouble stones deep sleep. We did get one of these before, but... Okay, so if I'm going to go check out the different parts of the island, I actually need to do that now. It takes longer than a minute. But I did say that I was going to check out the forge side, so I think on this I'm going to use the alchemist's glassware. So we'll use metal. What are my best forge memories? Wow. Not much to go on. So the iotic essence is a pretty obvious one for me to throw in there. Less clear on the substance, though. So there's sort of one argument that says put something with high forge inside of it, but Westcott's compounds actually wouldn't go amiss. Yeah, so I think without thinking too hard about this, I think we just toss in... I'm pretty sure we've done the majority of this forge work already. So I don't know if I'm going to learn all that much. I'm also going to have to switch out orichalcum, I think. Okay, well, Anbury and Lepidary we learned Orpiment Exultant. It's also kind of nice to know when we don't need to worry about the iotic essence. So that's kind of helped me out across 2 dimensions. So one thing I'm going to do here, maybe we'll put the xanthotic essence in now, because I know that does come up in a couple of the recipes, even if it's just sort of transforming one into the other. But the other thing I want to do is maybe put the orichalcum wire in. I don't even think I have the orichalcum wire, actually. Maybe good for me to know that I don't have that, actually. So the challenge with these is I'm now not up to 15, but I don't want to do... Oh, I don't think I put spices and savors together in here. That would still only take me up to 14, so I'm not... Let's be sure. Okay, that would have taken me to 15, but it didn't make a difference. So I imagine orichalcum is probably going to do something different. In fact, I might be willing to give up the forge specifically to try that. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to change my my strategy a little bit here. So we're going to take the, we're going to go back to the foundry. So we'll use our metal here. We will, just need to find out which one will give me orichalcum. I don't think door and wall, but, nope, shows what I know. We already went for knock, so there's nothing we're going to lose doing that. And I'll maybe just double check. So right now we've got copper. We also have steel. I'm not married to either, to be honest, so we'll work with that. So I suppose I think we already explored moth with this, but I didn't explore moon. And we do have weaving the world to work with. So let's go weaving the world, Trist. Now, if I recall correctly, I think Asmiel was a component I needed to worry about. I'm trying to think if there's another moon aspect I'd be working with. I could, I suppose... Nope, because Old Wound's not an omen. I mean, if I'm looking to maximize the numbers, Black Sapphire Wash, but I feel that that's limiting my options. Okay, well, there we go. Catwink. So maybe... Well, Lethe doesn't have moon, though, I don't think. Yeah, that's a little hard for me to justify in its current form. And the inks are always a little bit of a weird one anyway, so... we'll see if Sea Stories gives me another indicator. Yeah, so I mean, Asmiel is the thing that we keep making. I mean, I guess the salt sign might be a possibility here, but getting a lot of Black Sapphire Wash, although I'm not sure what the 10 is at this point. Liquid. Well, we've already got a liquid in here, so Applebright... Wait, Tridesma Hyra might be interesting to see what... Oh, you know what? I should be trying Confounding Parables. I don't know if that's because I remember there being a confounding parable that I needed to worry about at some point. Maybe I'll even switch that out with Weaving the World before we finish this. Because we've certainly got plenty of moon, but we're also clearly not generating that much to get excited about. And it's not exactly a surprise given that this is an endgame item and this is really just one intermediate ingredient. Okay. Maybe the midnight mark too. Yeah, none of this is really all that impressive. So I get the feeling that Moon's going to become a little bit of a rival for me. With all of this, we've been able to be past 15 and we've learned very little. So, oh, but the challenge is I don't have a confounding parable, so I don't even have that to play around with. Well, unless I have a salt sign or a midnight mark to work with, I think that is it for the tryst, and that makes me feel a little bad because I feel like that is the one... Well, midnight mark might do something, assuming I have a place for it. I definitely feel like I should be doing more. I guess. I mean, am I going to switch out the marks each time? Maybe you should think this through. Oh, here's an interesting one. So maybe we ditch the memory. I'm wondering what that changes. Not much, it looks like, but I'm gonna commit to this. Alright, that's really more of the same, but... This is a midnight mark. Mind you, that's not 15. So... I think at this point I'm going to ditch the midnight mark. I'm going to put the black sapphire wash back in because I need to learn... Ooh, nuts. If I can't do this at the Nocturnary, this might be a problem. I was not expecting this to be the tough one. Also turns out, didn't seem to count for much. Okay, no, we've got a couple essential Periost, I guess. Oh, it just gave me a bittersweet cert. Alright, well. We learned something, I guess. Year tally. Okay, that's interesting. So we're getting all this winter stuff now because of the Wormwood Dream. I'm not necessarily going to complain about that. It's not what I'm expecting, but it is interesting to know. I'm really curious, though, what moon thing I'm... So, like, the Asmiel is clearly part of it. But there's so obviously a big intermediate moon thing that I'm just not paying attention to. And it's not the essential Perios. Anyways, it is... all of this was my my effort to get something to open a container with, which I now have. So we can go for the morbid, the coppery, or the hive. Let's start with morbid. This is in the Iron Vault. Where did the Curie of the Isle come from? Across the Western Ocean from Noon, where the Ordo Lamea made their home? That would raise more questions than it answered, but this vault would seem to be of their making, and it would also seem to reference the oath called the Iron Chain, which binds every resident of Noon to remain hidden from the world, so that the Calyptra might not look upon us, so that the Chancel might not hear our names, so that the Hours may not devour us. So, a treasure bequeathed by a death-haunted merchant prince in his last days. What midnight gift. Okay, now, because I'm going to be... Oh, you know what? Sorry, Trist was supposed to be something that I explored with. So this is going to mean I'm now going to use Heart with Core to turn and learn a little bit more. And I actually think I still stay down here. Now, Desires and Dissolutions, I think we're... So first of all, that's not hard. I wonder if I can get Gideon Soaks in this. Those are going to be important, so... No. All right. Now this we have a little more flexibility with because we have Weaving the World, and it's not clear to me that we need... I'm not going to say no to a heart in a jar, but I feel like we should do better. But I don't have like a huge heart flower, so... Okay, heart in a jar for now. So obviously there's something that I need to put in here. Some of the... There's like a Thunderskins Paean that I almost certainly will need to put in at some point. This almost certainly needs fabric, so I'm not too worried about that. But there's the Swaddled Thunder, so maybe we've already worked through that. January Sanguinary, we already learned about from the soaks. Oops. Okay, nice to know. Auto January Sanguinary. Well, let's at least give the fabric a try. Just because it's a difficult one doesn't mean I want to completely abandon it. So I guess I can put the Frithweft and the Swaddled Thunder. Now, whether this is actually going to tell me anything I don't already know, I mean, we have a little bit, I guess. Actually, more than I was expecting. So if nothing else, removing the mystery from those will be helpful. Apparently I forgot strings and songs. Something tells me that's probably not a Gideon Soaks option, though. Okay. Good to know, I guess? Again, I wasn't 100% expecting some of those results, but... So So as far as the core is concerned, we can go for a walk on the moor, I think is probably my best option here. Now we haven't really examined scale, so that would be a Asite altar. The good news is we do have the earthquake name. The bad news is I'm not so sure about the intermediate stuff. I am going to add the living relic because it did mention that that would be a way I could make Houndsgall. Actually, we're quite short on items. I'm not so sure the earthquake name is what I need here. Well, let's put a brave face on it, see how far we can get. Yeah, so a leaf at some point would be good. Let's work with what we've got. Okay. Yeah, at the very least, I'll eliminate the Houndsgall stuff. I suspect I'll probably want an old moment just to verify some of that. I think I already did Crawling Chasm, but okay. There's actually a couple of other things that I should consider. I'm trying to think how I can think sensibly about some of this stuff. So lots of old moments. I know we're not getting that. You know, let's see. Ooh, I may not be able to fit the... I think I used up the one stove that would let me put scale. Nope. Jail kitchen range. Okay. So for the purposes of scientific inquiry, I'm going to stick an egg in here and see. I'm wondering if there is a leaf of some kind I can work with. All right. I may be creating more hardship for myself than it's worth, but let's see. Yeah, there's the Perinculate. Should maybe actually try adding the Perinculate and see if that does anything. Yeah, so we're not able to get up to 15 even, or even at this point, so we're really just finding out which ones do the living relic, which again is not a hardship. That's being able to eliminate some of the mysteries is still helpful in its own way. It's just not it's not the sort of headline thing that I'm looking for. Okay. So I think old moments turn into earthquake names. And I guess we also already know that if we add Perinculate, that will turn into serpent's milk. That's already used up. I think I'm short on options here. Okay. To the moor. Nope, we're already at the moor. Maybe beachcombing. Or maybe sea caves. I think I prefer sea caves. Goes in the endless night. Alright, so my last couple of options here. I don't want to use either of these overnight in the for opening a package. So really the Whist and the Fost, like this is it. So let's look at my winter options first. Now there's a couple of obvious ones for me to work with. So for instance, adding the blue crown helps me know, what we need for Solomon's Preparation, whereas Solomon's Preparation lets me know what we need for Nillikant. So there's some basics. At some point, I probably want to add the essential Periost as well. But let's work with what we know for sure. Yep. So I imagine a few of these we're just gonna fill in what we already knew. It's nice also because a few of these are now getting to their full, like, okay, we know everything that we can about these ones. It's going to simplify the next time we go hunting for lessons. I don't think we looked at Ragged Crossroads yet. Now, was that because we don't have... No, we're at 17. Good to know. Now I'm going to guess putrefactions and calcinations are probably a year tally thing. So we'll add the essential Periost now. Basically the same exercise as before. Yep. Some of these we're already learning. Yeah, I actually imagine we're not going to learn too much more about the 5 and higher just because already having the Wormwood Dream gave us what we needed. So I don't think there's much else for me to do with the Whist. Well, then again, I need to keep remembering I don't have a use for the Whist. Should have used that to open a container. So the last step, I guess, would be the Fost, which is both a source of lantern as well as sky. So I'll use it for its lantern properties first. This one gets a little tricky just because if I look at something like Inks of Revelation, in one sense I need glass, in another xanthotic essence. I can't sort of put a little bit of everything in. So I guess I'll use the Didymos. We'll go with what we know, I guess. So Deer Day lens for the glass. Oh, doesn't let me do that. Okay. I guess we'll go for the higher level xanthotic essence first, although I'm going to want to switch this out for Ichor Vitreous at some point. And surely there is some way that I can get some sort of glass in this. Even if it's without the lantern. Oh, Whispering Sand does the trick. Or just regular sand. Okay, so again, this is really more sort of a fishing expedition. I have a feeling there may be an old moment in my future. Yeah, so there's a lot of repetition in terms of things that we already know. So pretty much all the use alt is already accounted for. This one we're not high enough in Lantern. I'm sure if I had some other... I'm actually sure if I was at the altar that would work, but... Okay. So I'm now going to take the Ichor Vitreous. Ichor Auroral might also be an option too, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. So we're still short in terms of the lantern that we need. Yeah, so I'm learning, basically I'm learning about all the stuff that I already know. Which is making me feel more and more like the question here is the old moment or something else. So my last option before moving on to Sky would be to try a solar altar and just see if there is something else I can do. So I guess the big question for me would be, like, what lantern thing do I think I'm missing to really blow this wide open? I mean, I could try some glass finger toxin stuff. I could try, I guess I did say I was going to try Ichor Auroral. Yeah, let's maybe start with that. Okay. I believe History Wax Candle, yeah. It's a start, but I don't hate this as far as options go. I was hoping we might be able to make... Yeah, one short of what we need. Watchman's Paradox is we actually have everything we need, so I didn't need to add that. That was unexpected, but nice to know we can get Porphyryne from Auroral Contemplations. I am slightly curious now, because we did get... Oops. How do I even try this? I'm somehow going to have to find 6 lantern. I can get close, but I definitely can't get to 15 with that. So, gives me something to... Well, you know, the more I think of it, there may be a way for me to actually make all that work. Clearly here, like the History Wax Candle's not even close enough, but let's focus on the thing I want to do, which is the Sky. Now, ideally I have something that will allow me to bring the Mazarine Fife in as an instrument. It is also reasonably powerful. So, does the altar allow me to put a tool in? Not really. A desk will, but a desk keeps me short of one of the other. So I mean, maybe I do one pass with the fife and then one with the other. It's a shame if I have to do it that way, but... Oh, nope, this lets me put a tool in. Okay. That is good to know. Okay, so Didymos for the big Sky. I don't even think I have a Sky. Oh no, Dear Day Lens, fair enough. The only thing is I would prefer to have other music. So let's try the Ascendant Harmony instead, seeing as that's more likely to produce some kind of intermediate result. Okay, so we're already good for Sacralamea. Glazurian Lightsmithing. Very interesting to know that on those 10s, like we're completely blank on these. I will actually investigate that later because that is interesting to me. Nothing we didn't already know here. Maybe I try something with the Icrovitreus at a future point. Yeah, I think music-wise, we're already learning the things we already knew. Oh, Wind and Waiting, okay. So now we can at the very least clear out the Mazarine Fife. This is interesting. We're also short of the 15 now, so I shouldn't expect too much. Okay, so we're going to take a slightly different approach on this one. What I'm going to do now is go to one of the instruments, and it's specifically so I can basically just cram as much sky stuff as I can. So Didymos and Ascendant Harmony, and on top of that we get a memory. I guess we have to settle for the Solace. Weaving the World's not going to help us out here, but still. We're already at 12 sky, so all but the lowest sky, actually even the Sky Stories works here. So this should clear out anything that we were short on that sort of requires an instrument we should be learning about here. We may not learn anything, but at the very least that's sort of eliminating any possibilities that were about, specifically about instruments and just being short the sky aspect. Okay, so we learned something there. Now, because the Mazarine Fife is an ingredient for the Wind and Waiting, I am going to take the time to check out the Pale Desk with the Fife, and I'm specifically going to apply the Didymos here just so that I can maximize the... So, yeah, the catch here is that Sky Stories is too shy of what I need, and I don't have anything in papers to help out there. Furs and Feathers, yeah, similar problem. Drat. I feel like we have better opportunities. So if I take the... I can't put more than one memory, so we still want to put the Didymos in. And I want to add the Mazarine Fife. So then if I add the Sky... Let's go for Sky Stories just for a baseline. So, do I really feel... like I don't have any sky material? It is entirely possible that I am just shy the one sky for this. Because I know I can't rely on the ink. Oh. There we go. I'm not expecting too many more like that, but we might as well check out the full list. More than I was expecting. And we already got a wind and waiting from strings and song, so I don't need to move beyond that. Okay, that was definitely more than I thought. So the last question is, out of the stuff that I wasn't able to make too much progress with, so maybe Anbury and Lapidary would be a good example of this. So clearly we've got the 10. The question I have is, what exactly am I not giving them here? So actually, I mean, I guess what we're really looking for are certain aspects. So do I have a liquid that I can chuck in? Liquid that can go into this slot. That's the important part. I'm going to make my life a little simpler just by doing one of these. Good Lord. I really don't have liquids that I can... I mean, none of these really... Well, you know what? Let's just get it in there. The Magnificent Green Cockatoo has some sky. I mean, this is not great. I don't think Anbury and Lapidary is going to learn. Well, you know what? It was more than I was expecting. Sacrolamea we've already filled out. And sorry, I know we're like 10 minutes over on this one. I just really wanted to... Okay, I'm probably leaving something on the table here, but I'm reasonably satisfied that we've sort of emptied the well. And I can, at the very least, consult the Gull Colony again. So for the remainder of the day, I guess the question is, what do I do with this whist? I could just make a fun Nillicant, or I could just earn a little bit more money. I think probably I'll go for the money, just because, again, I don't have a simple application for the whist that doesn't result in it being, you know, used up the next day. So I will play this out on stream or on broadcast, just so that on Monday we're kind of going in with a clean slate. Now, unfortunately, I really don't have anything I can do with this whist here. Unless there's a 30-second thing for me to do with it. Actually, no, you know what? I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to say, okay, we had our chance. Let's pick a memory to bring over. There, 'tis and can be no tizzer. Mrs. Kill, as every local gossip knows, came from France to marry Mr. Kill, but there's scant trace of the continent in her accent now. Let's say, as a hypothetical, I would read the 3 and 3. I imagine that's going to be an Edicts Inviolable. So that is a Heart and Moon. So it seems to me like probably the Storm or the Intuition are the ones. And you know what? I keep tripping over this. I can't actually sleep on intuitions. I keep thinking I can. But Storm's the obvious one to go with in this case. But yeah, I kind of wanted to play this out even though it was a longer episode, just so that we can have a clean slate for summer. We've got Ashertine, nice Ink of Revelation. We'll put that in the inks section. It's still getting crowded there, but... Our investigation should finish up pretty soon. And one drawback is I do believe we will not have... Well, maybe we'll have the egg by the end of the day. It's definitely going to be close. If we do. Oh boy. Okay, we at least have these elements back. A viper egg, a serpent in waiting. I think we might have gave one of those up, so... Replacement? With Keeper level Forge, Orichalcum can catalyze and contain the Azoth. Ah, there we go. Alright, that's the knock thing I'm missing. So I'll have another ingredient to pursue at some point. I feel like we already had a Gull's Egg, but that's the one that I'm giving up an element of the soul for, I seem to recall. Yet more sand. Alright, daybreak. Memories fade, assistance departs, but the soul is refreshed. I'm willing to guess that we don't have Numa coming up. So we'll bring in Mrs. Kill. Maybe we see what the season brings before I go too much further down the road. We'll get the letters at the Sweet Bones. And I'm just trying to think if there's anything special that I want to do. I don't think it would hurt to keep opening these containers. But you know what? I can save that for the next recording, I think. So this was definitely a longer episode. It's almost a double episode at this point, but I know I was doing a lot of ingredient hunting. So we still have a couple more containers to open up here. If I want to get more containers, that will come by searching Crowcross Sands, which is absolutely something that's an option. I am really hoping we do get someone who knows Hyksos for the next visitor. A couple of other things that I can work on, making chimeric larva, just so that we can test a few more of the ingredients. I do now have that orichalcum, so if I want to play around with other recipes, I have that option. And at the very least, if we don't have Hyksos, I can try the 3 and the 3. But hopefully we can make a little bit more, headway than that. And then of course we have the option of exploring more of the island, but we've always had that option. So getting a little more constrained in terms of options just because of the way the language has turned out. I do have some options in terms of things that I can do with the journal, but it makes a little more sense when I have a Newman that is aligned with the artist. That's when we can sort of start picking some specific paths that we want to go down. But I think we will see all of that happen in the summer. So thank you for your extended time with me tonight. We will be back on Monday for more Book of Hours. Until then, take care.